that really got to me was when I felt like I'm going through Driveline. I hope nobody sees me. Can't actually run into the school if I have to go out and get questions. Or I didn't want to run into the grocery store. And I'm like, because nothing, I was just kind of a mess. And I was like, well, why? How much different would it be? Like, how much more time would it take? How much more energy would it take for me to just choose the leggings, the t-shirt? It didn't have to be anything fancy, right? That all just works together where I could still feel like I can run into those places if I have to. I can exit my car without looking like I'm ready to go to bed or like in my pajamas. And that's okay.
Hello, women of Fort Mill. We are incredibly excited to feature a special guest, Miss Amy Casey, today from House of Colour in Waxhaw. My name is Kelly Hoover, and I am flying solo this morning as your host. But I am so excited to bring on Amy and talk a little bit about finding your color, learning a little bit more about House of Colour and really the process of going through it. I just went through it myself. So super excited to bring you guys this special guest. So welcome, Amy, to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. So I met Amy. Actually, my first introduction to Amy was not even in person. It was through one of Amy's former client who was a recent guest to Jamie, and she's with Vintage Daisy. And we were meeting for photography, and she looked beautiful in this bright color. And I remember specifically saying, wow, I've never seen you wear this color. You look amazing. You should wear more of this. And literally her conversation was, I just had my color analysis done with Amy. And I was like, okay, I need to know more about this because there are so many colors in the rainbow. You know, we have these situations, Amy, where people walk up and they're like, that's a great color on you. That's a great color. But to actually like sit and learn the different shades of red, the different shades of blue was fascinating to me. So after that conversation, I was like, I need to meet Amy. Who is Amy? Where is she? And then literally within a week, I was attending a networking group here in Fort Mill and you were there. And I was like, this is fate. I've got to go. I've got to know this. And so I'm so excited to feature you today and learn a little bit more about you, Amy, and about just bring you to the podcast. So let's just jump in and get started. So tell everyone who has not been privileged to have an opportunity to work with you or meet you and learn about House of Colour. Tell us a little bit about who Amy is and about your business.
Well, I am a former educator. So I was a teacher, college professor for over 25 years, almost 30 years, but it was just always my passion and something that I was kind of doing forever, whether it was in person or online. And then I had my colors done and it was super impactful for me. And when I was kind of looking for a change and a switch, we moved to the area just over a year ago. So almost a year and a half. And at that time, I was like, I want to go back teaching. I think I need, maybe it was a midlife crisis. I don't know, but I need a little change. And I am so obsessed with my experience with color analysis and it changed my life so dramatically that I was like, okay, well, can do this, you know, and see what it's all about. And it seemed like a great opportunity to allow other people to have the same positive experience that I've had. And so I was like, well, let's do it. And so I did. I'm not the type to sit there and fester and like, you know, spend 2 years thinking about something and planning. In hindsight, maybe I should have been that type of person. But yeah, I just decided shortly after we moved here, and it has been most amazing year. October is my 1 year with House of Colour since I opened. So House of Colour has been around for over 40 years, but we have just been, and we're from the UK, we're founded in London, but we have just been in the US. So it's something that I think, like you said, you know, getting the word out, helping people understand what color analysis is. And a lot of people will say like, I look good in blue, or people tell me I can't. And I'm like, well, there are so many shades of blue, so many shades of red, so many shades of green. We need to know what suit you and your undertones. And so, you know, there's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of myths out there. There's a big AI presence with things like this. And people think that it is a 5-minute process, or I can just send in a photo on a computer, and that's not what we do at House of Colour. We have pretty high standards. So it's been a fantastic year, and I'm so happy to be able to share all.
Well, congratulations on your year anniversary. I think that is incredible. I mean, being a business owner, especially coming from education, is already like a major undertaking. But then, the education, I think a lot of people are aware that this type of service exists, but they've probably never met anyone or known anyone to actually do it. So I want to walk through what the process looks like. So if someone is listening, they're like, wow, I've been wanting to do this or I need to do it. Let's walk through the process. But before we jump into that, I want to share with our listeners like why someone from my perspective, and then I want you to add on to it if I miss anything, would want to have this done. So a lot of us are either business owners or we work in corporate America, or we are moms and we're on the go. A lot of us carry multiple hats like that. And we put clothes on every day of our life, right? This is something that we are constantly wearing. And a lot of us are wearing makeup. I want you to touch on that as well. And so why would we not, if we have to wear clothes, we're putting clothes on every day, why would we not put on the clothes that light up and complement our natural colors and our abilities? I know for me, there were some colors I was like, oh, people constantly tell me I look good in that, but is that really true? Is it natural? And there's some colors I'm like, oh, when we did my analysis, I was like, well, that's not best. It's not bad, but there are better options. And I love fashion. I love all things clothes, but this helps me so much knowing how to narrow it down. And myself being a business owner, I'm thinking of my branding colors. I'm thinking of colors that make me pop when I'm on social media and when I'm walking into meetings. And as women, when we feel confident and we look good, like we show up totally different in our life, even if that is in a pair of sweats or a pair of workout clothes, doing that. So I personally am so grateful for the experience. And I just want women to know that this is not just for people who build a business online and who need their colors. Like this is for any and all women, right? Wouldn't you say so?
Absolutely. Really. And people will ask me, like, who's your target clientele? I'm like, well, we all wear clothes and we all have skin. So if you're human and you have to get dressed, whether you're a woman, a man, a child, like everyone wants to feel that they can look their best with the least amount of effort, not spending a ton of time, a ton of money. And really, by doing that and having everything work together in harmony with your skin tone and with everything else you're wearing so that everything kind of matching, it allows people to feel confident. Like you said, whether they're working corporate America or whether they're going to the drive line. Like there are days, and I was person. And this is why color analysis was so impactful for me, where I was kind of in a slump. I was in a transition time period with jobs and I was kind of living in leggings, post COVID, everybody was living in leggings for 4 years. But the thing that really got to me was when I felt like I'm going through driveline. I hope nobody sees me. Can't actually run into the school if I have to go out and question, or I didn't want to run into the grocery store. And I'm like, because I was just kind of a mess. And I was like, well, why? How much different would it be? Like, how much more time would it take? How much more energy would it take for me to just choose the leggings, the t-shirt? It didn't have to be anything fancy, right? That all just works together where I could still feel like I can run into those places if I have to. I can exit my car without looking like I'm ready to go to bed or like in my pajamas. And that's okay. Children's appointments are amazing because a lot of kids, especially girls, to the point where they're becoming self-conscious for whatever reason. Maybe they're experiencing some mean girl stuff at school. And with the tweens and preteens that I've worked with, the feedback that I get from their parents has been so rewarding. And especially as a former educator, I've seen all that in schools and in classrooms. We want our young women to grow up confident, positive, and happy, and them to be victim to taking in the negativity that other people might be throwing at them. And so it truly is for everyone. And men's appointments, what I love about a male client is they typically don't have a clue. They're typically not always even doing their own shopping. And so it's actually most helpful for the spouse because they're like, oh, finally, I'm just going to take my husband's color van and I'm going to go. We're going to harmonize our family photos, or I'm going to make sure he's showing up to work or this important meeting or whatever it is, looking his best. So it's really something for all of us.
It's amazing. So walk us through. I'm a new client. I've been through this, so I loved it. I had such a great experience. Walk us through. We're coming in. I've now booked. I'm ready to get my colors done. Walk us through what that appointment looks like.
So you come into my studio. I have lots natural light. So there's no overhead light during your appointment. And that's super important because we want to see, and you'll come with no makeup, which for men and children is typically fine. For women, it can be a little nerve wracking for some of us at times, but it is okay. You will leave with makeup. You come in and you sit in front of a mirror. We cover your hair, your clothes, anything that might kind of impact what I'm seeing. I use precision dyed drape, and I'm comparing, say, for example, if I'm looking at red, comparing a yellow based red to more of a blue based red. And first part of the appointment is I'm looking to see if you have warm or cool undertones in your skin. And I have a lot of clients who are like, oh, I got my foundation matched at Ulta, so I have cool undertones. I'm like, that's your outer tone. What you can see is your outer tone. What you cannot see is your undertone. So this is all based in color theory and color science. It essentially comes down to primary colors, undertones in our skin, which again, we cannot see by looking at ourselves or having someone look at us unless we are showing up and we are comparing and looking at, it's all science. So we're using natural light to look at the reflection of the colors with our skin and how our skin interacts. So that's why you're watching everything in the mirror. I'm explaining what I see nicely, and usually, and I will explain it so that the client can also then start to see it as well. Because I'm an educator by nature, I want people to really leave feeling confident that they understand what has just happened, what they then take from it, how to use all of that information in their lifetime. Because, like I said, this is based in genetics, so your season will not change. So the undertones in your skin are based in your pigment. Your lipid layer in your skin has either more yellow or more blue in it. So that's why you are either yellow or warm undertone or blue or cool undertone. So after we figure out your undertone and you're either warm or cool, we then put you into one of the seasons. So a warm season is spring or autumn. A cool season is winter or summer. So once we figure out person's season, the client's season, I will then, if they're female, I will then put on makeup that's specific to that season. So what happens a lot of times is they'll get their colors done and they'll be wearing their colors and they'll maybe forget about the makeup side of things, or they'll just go back to wearing their old makeup, which will not harmonize then maybe with their skin tone or their colors. And then let's say they have the wrong tones in their hair, if they've been coloring their hair, then, and I do give hair color tips, I give jewelry tips, denim tips, I mean, all of it. There's so much information that happens during an appointment, and I follow up with information so that it doesn't become too overwhelming afterwards. But it's essentially the makeup, because it's on our face, will make just as much of an impact as the clothes that we're wearing, especially closest to our face. So we want everything to harmonize and look really good. So once we do makeup and whatever season client is, we will put on all three colors in the season and we will rate them 1 to 3. 3s are the wow colors, and we will take notes of all of that, keep those ratings accessible so that if someone decides, okay, I'm going to spend a little bit on an investment piece, I want it to be in one of my best colors, great. And we'll talk about your sub season. We'll take some before and after photos. They're always super fun, and answer any questions. And then a client leaves with a color fan in their season. Will look like this. So this is spring, just like you. And it will have all of their colors specifically match the precision dyed drape. It will have some cheat sheets for the other seasons in case you're really struggling. And it will even have a reminder about what your jewelry color is, whether it's yellow gold, white gold, platinum, things like that. And they'll also leave with a booklet that has all the rating information, like I mentioned, all the makeup that we tried on, and lots of other information to help along the journey. And so I really do like to emphasize to my clients that it's just part one of a journey, and we have to start somewhere. And so it's a great place to start because it allows people to go back to their closet, and then they realize, well, I haven't worn 60-70% of the stuff in my closet in years. I don't know why I never got rid of it. And this, as this little motivator, will help clients. I mean, I can't tell you how many photos days later, a week later, sometimes the same day, I get of just like bags and bags of clothing, like clean out my closet. My husband can't believe it. It's taken years, and it's that little bit of motivation that we didn't know that we needed, but it's also like permission. Like, it's okay to get rid of, we don't need to keep the things that we thought, wear it someday. Now it's like, well, it's not my color, so I might not wear it. It's okay. And I do help by working with a couple different nonprofits and shelters in the area. So I always have bags and bags of client clothing that I collect. And then every 4 or 6 weeks, I will donate to a shelter, usually women's, some teenage donations. And so, yeah, if I have any men, typically bring that to an assistant.
That's wonderful. I will say, like, going through that process and getting my colors done and makeup and everything, and then coming home to my closet, and I have a lot of clothes, and I am pretty good. I usually go through every season, like, I'll switch my summer things and then my winter things kind of around in my closet. So I usually always get rid of clothes. Like if I haven't worn it in a year, it's not in my closet. But I do have a lot of clothes. So one of the things that I loved about it, I didn't feel overwhelmed at all when I came home with my color fan, which you guys, if you're not seeing this on our YouTube channel, what the color fan looks like is like imagine like a palette when you go to the paint store and you like get all of these. That's what it is. I stuck it in my purse and it's actually sitting here on my desk right now. I've matched all my wow colors to it from the booklet and I've been carrying it around because I do want to transition some of those pieces. For me, I love a lot of the things in my closet. So I'm slowly like transitioning things out. But if I was the person who didn't clean out my closet on a regular basis, I would have come home that day and just gotten rid of everything possible and just really been able to create like, okay, everything in here is things that I like. And so many different ways to do it. So some people I think are like, wow, okay, I need to go through and get rid of everything. And then I love that when we were at the end of my color analysis, you were like, okay, I was like, what are the next step? And you kind of walked me through it. And there's so many options. So people don't have to feel overwhelmed, right? Like you can take it as fast or as slow as you want. And I will promise you, Amy is right there to help you if you have questions after the process. So I love that you walked us through all of those things. And it really is very beneficial. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. So as we're wrapping up this episode, anything else that you would like to share with our listeners? One thing I would like to mention, because I know you're technically in Waxhaw, a lot of our listeners are in Charlotte, Fort Mill, Rock Hill, Waxhaw, Indian Land. But you guys, I live in TK and it is just a quick little hop over to her studio. It's not far at all. It was a beautiful drive there too. But will you just touch really quick and then anything else you want to share on, like if someone like, do they come to your studio? Can you go to them? Can they do it with one person? Can they do it with a group? Will you share with that and then anything else that you'd like to share before we close out?
Absolutely. Those are great questions. So I work with individuals. I work with small groups. I work with larger groups. It just kind of depends on the situation. Typically, people come to my studio. I've had people come from as far as Wilmington, Columbia area, all over. Just kind of depends. And it's not that I can't travel because I absolutely can, but I do have the natural light. I'm kind of in control of the environment in my studio. And obviously, you know how much makeup I have and all the things. But I do, especially for larger groups, I'm happy to travel. I have the ability to do that. That just becomes more of a little bit of a scheduling coordination type of thing that we need to work on. And that's something that wouldn't necessarily, for a larger group, be able to go in and book. It would just be something we need to chat about on the phone or email. Also, my area in Waxhaw, I am right on the border of Indian. I'm literally half a mile from the South Carolina border. So I essentially feel like I live in Indian land because I'm driving at 5:20:21 to Pineville for soccer every day of my life, it feels like. But since we are a franchise, my territory is actually Waxhaw, Mineral Springs, Indian Land, Fort Mill, and Pineville. And that just means that those are areas that I can go to and collaborate with businesses, market, come do presentations. If anyone owns a business there and wants to work together on something or have me come, like if you're an agent or a realtor and wants me to come work with your realtors in your group for their next branding photos or something like that. That anyone, like I said, can come from anywhere and just feel free to, book online or reach out to me to have an appointment. So I'm super happy to answer any questions any of the listeners or viewers if they're not quite sure like how this could benefit them, because there's so much more that we didn't even get into. And really, color analysis is part one of the entire journey. Style analysis is part two, and that's what we can talk about another time. But there's lots of other things that I offer, from wardrobe edits so not everyone's like you, Kelly. Like, you are the most amazing person I think in terms of how you handle your closet, you are like the ideal situation, but most of us are not that amazing. So for people who are struggling after the color analysis, like, okay, can you come into my closet? Can you help me figure out what colors I'm still missing? That is the service I offer as well. It's called a wardrobe edit. And something I just launched literally 2 weeks ago is a new subscription service. So not that I will send clothes to you, it's that I will send you anywhere from 75 to 100 links at the beginning, the first of each month for specific to your season. If you've had your style analysis done and we know your clothing personality, it will be also your style. And those are links you can go on and actively shop. So if you're like, I love shopping, but I also love shopping online, but I'm not sure my season because nothing ever looks right online. Well, I'm sending you things that are essentially almost verified to be correct for yours. And that's just something that comes every month to your inbox. And you use our lookbook platform, which is kind of an inspo type of platform. And you can even upload photos of clothes that you already have in your season. If you're like filling in a gap, I have this pair of pants in for your case, like geranium, and I need to know like what I can wear with it. Well, you can then kind of create your own outfit even in that lookbook. So fantastic new service I'm super excited about. And like I said, happy to answer any questions and work with anyone in the community who might be interested in collaborating. And yeah, if there's any questions that a client have or business have, they can reach me directly through my website or my business Facebook page. Those are typically the best ways to get.
Fantastic. Well, I'm so excited. You guys, we will have all the ways to get in touch with Amy in the show notes. Obviously, you can see everything as well within our newsletter. So if you have not subscribed to the newsletter, you can go to the Women of Fort Mill podcast on Instagram and get linked into the newsletter. And that will give you all the information for Amy and about all the other future guests. So Amy, thank you so much. First off, thank you so much for helping me with my own colors. And I just loved the process. And then sharing all this information with our listeners.
Great. Thank you.
So thank you today, listeners, for this incredible episode. We're so excited that we were able to have Amy. And if you would like to be a guest on the Women of Fort Mill podcast, please reach out to us on Instagram, or you can go to the link in our bio and fill out the questionnaire there. We'd love to be able to feature you and or your business. And we're just super excited. If you loved this episode, please give us a 5-star rating wherever you listen to the podcast. And we will see you, or we will hear you and talk to you on the next episode of Women of Fort Mill podcast. Have a great day.